Alright, wonderful fuckfaces. Welcome to what is evidently something that all YouTubers do, which is start a new series and never finish the old ones. But, this is not a series. But yeah, I am, as per the title, doing Challenge 52, right? Basically, when it comes to my life schedule, right, or I guess until I have a job, whatever the fuck. I'm doing 6 weeks on of like my usual work, right? 2 to 3 hours of coding, 1 to 2 hours of job, applications, networking, outreach, communication shit, blah blah blah. 2 hours of drawing, the whole shebang, 1 hour piano, whatever. I do that for 6 weeks, and then for 1 week, which is the week I'm in right now, it's the Monday, I rest. And I was thinking, like during my rest week, rather than doing the extremely intensive, like cognitive work that I do with the portrait practice, right? Like especially with the helmets and all that shit, or the hard surface shapes, right? We will go back. What better way to rest than to go back and practice your fundamentals, right? The one thing that is never at rest. But yeah, that's it. Like just these Challenge 52 videos will be sporadic in the sense that you'll probably see them in like clumps 5, 6 times a year, and there's no fucking way of finishing anything athoro puts out, or like this challenge for that athoro has. And oh well, I might as well start while I talk. In 52 weeks, but this is just like a good excuse. This series is just a good excuse to always practice the fundamentals, right? So my main goal with this, because right now we're going to be doing the first part, right? The first week, because I've technically already done like 200 boxes, but we'll just start again because I did it on a sketchbook. But my goal right now is essentially I'm just going to focus on my line quality, focus on my perspective skills, visualization, all that stuff, right? But the main thing is, because I'm so focused on design as well, the main goal is, right, to practice drawing boxes, of course, and just trying to put them in um, like an aesthetic pattern. What do I think is a cool pattern? What do I think is like in placement is what I mean. But yeah, draw along with me. Let's practice the fundamentals, right? Thoro's Challenge 52. I'm gonna be doing hardcore, right? Again, I don't think it's realistic to be able to do this shit in a week for me, but I am gonna be doing hardcore, right? So the main thing I want to think about is just like how can I make it so these shapes, and I still want to think, like, don't get me wrong, like I still want to think a lot, right? And this is a great way for me to practice really going back to my basics of just envisioning the fuck out of the horizon line, right? Which is basically something like it's over here, right? Really expanding my horizon line, really envisioning the vanishing points, right? All that shit. But it's yeah, but it's like on top of that, I just try to put them in an aesthetic placement, because this I believe will be a great way to improve my design skills. You can see how my lines are so shit. You see that? This is why I want to use this as an opportunity to work on my lines as well. Like especially obviously when I do a line that's going down like so, and obviously like proportion, all that shit. I just think this is a great opportunity, like while I'm resting my brain, to really just obviously rest it in the sense that I'm not doing all that other work that I mentioned. It's just gonna be bare minimum. Like I spent most of today fucking reading a manga, right? Another isekai. It's not isekai trash. It's not isekai, but it's definitely trashy. But it's called what's it called? Fucking Jack of all trades, right? Party of none. The anime was pissing me off, so I started reading the manga, and lo and behold, the manga actually had better dialogue, although it still has some things that piss me off, right? But I am just trying to. Okay, so where is actually my horizon line? Is it like this? Yeah, because then we'd have. Yeah, I think it's like this. Because then we'd have vanishing point there, vanishing point here. So off the page. I see like slight tilt like this. Now the horizon line's like this. Technically, technically can also be something like this, right? The horizon line can actually change quite a bit depending on how I want to do this. But the whole point is, yes, a thorough Challenge 52. I'm just trying to think about like how, and this is great because I'm still thinking a lot. Like I still have to think about the vanishing point and everything, but now I'm not doing the box, the sphere inside the box, the contour lines inside the sphere inside the box, right? Oh, and now that like I've noted that I speak very fast, I got a comment 12 hours ago being like, bro, slow the fuck down. Why are you in a rush? So there are two ways to respond to this. One is the fact I'm like, you know what, a fair point, right? I should slow down because I do speak quite fast. But the other more reasonable point is to double down and clearly label this person as fake, gay, and an insecure hater, right? And I think that's the optimal approach. So I'm gonna start editing my videos at times 10 speed. I actually just copy pasted what I replied to somebody else like a year ago, being which is why I said like, oh, just for you, I'll increase it times 10 with the same emojis and everything. I literally went out of my way to search up the reply I made to that person just so I could reply the same shit to this person. So I think I'm handling criticism very well, to be honest. But yeah, also I want to show that nobody's above the basics with this series, right? Like, yes, we are always thinking about the grid, we're always thinking about the horizon line, we're always thinking about all this shit, right? Right now, I'm genuinely just trying to think, yeah, I'm just trying to create these boxes in interesting arrangements. And even then, it's not as nice as I would like to make it, but this is the part where we figure it out, right? And of course, the main thing is focus on my lines, focus on my just going back to the basics, still visualize and think, but it is my rest. This is gonna be like my rest practice where it's nowhere near as intensive. Still difficult, don't get me wrong, still difficult, but nowhere near as intensive as what I do with the portrait stuff. Right? So I just need to think about the box. And honestly, my ability to visualize is quite subpar, but at least right now it feels subpar. But this is where I just get to have some fun. This is why I'm not taking what I'm doing right now too seriously. I'm genuinely just, and I think this honestly isn't even a good perspective. Let's be real, like this isn't even a good perspective, but like that I've drawn, but it's fun. I'm just trying to think about what would make these things look interesting. And that's like what I and that's the other that's the other thing I'm really trying to consistently focus on for myself is like what would I think looks interesting, not what is interesting, not what will be interesting, what is supposed to be interesting, just what do I think looks. Oh, see, these two are off. Like, what do I think looks interesting? And again, this is actually why I'm really happy about the fact that I'm doing this, because it's a great way, it's a genuinely a great way for me to practice my perspective skills again. Right? And especially the line work. Like, look at that. This is also off. Like, there's so many, like, that's off. Like, there's so many things that are off. Right? But this is the beauty of Athoro's challenge, and this is actually why I appreciate that he's done something like this, because it gives an opportunity for those, I guess, who clearly want to improve their skills, right? To take a step back and be like, this is, I'm just gonna do this when I feel like my fundamentals are rusty. And I don't think my fundamentals are rusty per se, but I think there's literally never a point where you are above the fundamentals. Just never. Like the basics are called the basics for a reason. They're their foundation, right? And again, I don't think this is boring. I actually think this is very invigorating. This is very thrilling, right? And maybe, this is just maybe, somebody will comment at one point now or in the future being like, oh, but like, how do you do that? I just can't find it stimulating. It's like, that's because you're fucking retarded, all right? But joke's on me and you, because there are ways to not be retarded, right? If you Google, you'll now get AI summaries specifically on how to make an anti-retard repellent, right? Unfortunately, you might end up setting yourself on fire because you're trying to repel yourself, but there are ways. One of those ways is to focus purely on the effort you're making. The other way is to focus purely on the mistakes you're making and feel good about them, like all the mistakes I've made thus far, right? And the way beyond that is to stop bitching and just put the work in. So, and you put the work in by the two other things I just mentioned, right? I'm not saying anything new. This is the same bullshit I always say, but the point I'm trying to make is it is not as hard as one would think to just enjoy doing things, right? To like just work towards doing things. Oh, and I'll be completely honest, I did not want to draw today at all. The reason I'm even doing this is because I did not want to do the whole portrait thing at all. I'll be completely honest, right? So this isn't me fronting, being like, look at me, I'm perfect, I can draw whatever I want, whoop-de-doo, I never have burnout. Bro, I'm literally doing this just so I don't burn out. I'm literally doing this 1 week of just, like, oh, see, that was a huge mistake. Yeah, I'm doing this 1 week of like challenge 52, and just this is quote unquote my easy week, right? Again, I'm still trying to challenge my brain, but this is technically my easy week literally because so I don't burn out, and I can maintain momentum towards doing difficult things and constantly trying, right? Like that's literally why I'm doing this. And I didn't want to draw today at all. Like, I want to be very clear. I spent the entire day fucking reading manga. Okay, and spent the entire day reading a shit manga too. Still gonna finish it, but I literally spent the entire day reading just manga and stressfully reading it too. Even though this was supposed to be my week off, it's so hard for me to not want to work at this point, right? I'm so used to like my habits is just constantly working, or just working on a skill, doing something. Like I was just they're like stressfully Netflixing, same shit, right? Like stressfully mangaing, something like that, but. Like, I did not want to draw today whatsoever, but I'm here, right? Because I managed to take a step back and be like, just, okay. Like, I'm here, I'm literally here because I was like, do the easier thing, right? Which is this. For me, this is my easier thing now, right? Is it easy? Absolutely fucking not. This is not easy. Like, this is not easy at all. Again, like, I'm also trying to design something in the sense that, like, I'm trying to think, like, how can this be aesthetic, right? How can I make this placement of boxes look decent in perspective with lines that I can say, hey, these aren't bad lines? The answer is I can't because I keep making mistakes, but that's okay. Like everything I'm gonna do is mistakes, right? But the point I'm trying to make is like I'd say about like a solid 70 to 80% of the time, I don't want to draw. But the more I come here, right? Like I pull up to my paper, I record now, clearly. I prove to myself that it doesn't matter whether I want to draw or not, because I am drawing. And that's what matters, right? And once you get into the flow, you get into the flow. And this is obviously like I now, more than to prove to myself that, hey, I can still do it even if I don't feel like it, I think I have a bit of an obligation now as I get more quote unquote fans, I guess you can call it, right? Like, I'm not gonna have fans for a while, but not at the scale where hopefully my words make a difference. I mean, again, like even if I've affected one person's opinion and I've encouraged you to actually try, that I'm still very happy about that. I'm still very happy. But obviously I'm a bit of an egotistical piece of shit. So obviously I want that notoriety and be like, yo, I want everybody to be like, yeah, I can draw, growth mindset, all that shit. So even though I'm not at that point, I still think it's necessary for me, like that I have an obligation, right? I genuinely have an obligation to, yeah, I do. I have an obligation to my fans. Like I have an obligation to any of you listening right here. Like I think I actually do have an obligation to prove and to be like, look, like I also have multiple days where I don't want to draw, right? But if I have multiple days where I don't want to draw and I can pull up, that means you can also pull up, right? Like that's just also like what I feel my obligation is to showcase that everybody goes through. And again, my whole thing is like watch me become great, right? So for those of you watching in the future, it's gonna be like, oh shit, he got so good, but literally he fucking spent 80% of his time having difficulty starting the task, and yet like even though he portrays himself as someone who's obsessed with drawing, or it seems like it, or he portrays himself as someone passionate, he also experiences the same apprehension and random incessant worries, or just like random tension, or just task delaying or procrastination that I can also display. But at one point, he comes up to the paper and he just starts drawing. And if someone like him is capable of this, right, and he's achieved, and of course I'm speaking in like the hypothetical sense that somebody is somebody's watching this video right now, and that's the mentality they have, and they're from the future where I've already achieved quote unquote, not even quote unquote, just much more desirable art skills, right? Like the whole point is I want that person to think, fucking long story short, is, oh shit, even though he's so good now, i.e. the future, right, he still fucking it turns out he didn't feel like drawing that much many times, but he just did it through essentially not willpower, but the habit that he'd already built, as well as, and I'm just kind of speaking for myself here, it's the habit I've already built, plus yeah, to prove to myself that I can, more than anything. And because I actually do, like, even if I'm fucking stressfully isekaiing or reading this shit, it's still to showcase to myself that no matter what, I can still draw this stuff, right? I can still come over here and put effort in, right? It's just about proving to me myself that, and hopefully to you, that the effort is really all that matters. Like the effort really is all that matters. Okay, so that's my first cluster. I don't know how many boxes that is. We'll count it afterwards. Oh wait, fuck, I still have one more little bit to go. But you see how that took 14 minutes? It took me 14 minutes to draw this cluster of boxes. 14 minutes, let it be known. right? But I'm gonna rest my brain, and then like I'll count all of them afterwards once I'm done with this hour, right? And I'm gonna try to obviously create as many different designs as possible. I feel as if this one was starting off good, but again, this is my rest week, so like I guess subconsciously I'm trying not to think too much, and this is what I'm capable of when I'm not actually thinking too much. I was using maybe not even like 40-50% brain energy. Most of my energy is going towards making sure my lines were clean. But I think next one I'm gonna try to actually really at least try to focus on the design, because I'm at a point now where I don't have to think too much about the convergences and the vanishing points and all that shit, right? So I can actually use this athoro's challenge as an opportunity to improve my design skills, which is what I'm going to try to do. That's the whole point. But yeah, please do draw along. Genuinely draw along. I keep forgetting to give that fucking call to action, but draw along, for the love of God. All right. Yeah, and this will be like a nice little 7 to 8 videos from this week that will be put out for like a week and a half for you, my audience, and then I'll be back to portraits. This doesn't matter. Anyways, I don't need to fucking explain my schedule, bro. Why do I do this? Anyways, let's rest our brain. Julio and the Julio. All right. Okay, so, and I obviously did it in the difficult perspective because I struggled with this perspective a lot before, but it's actually gotten a lot better because of all that helmet practice I've been doing, right? And the fact is, like, I can actually retain a box of this size pretty easily now. It's not bad. It's not bad. There's a lot of issues, but it's not bad. Okay, now let's do maybe something like this. Well, okay, this is where I want to. Yeah, I want to start by having boxes that. Hold up. This is actually where I want to think, because I do want to think about aesthetics, if that makes sense. But okay, I almost made it the same lines as this. We need to make things slightly different, right? There you go. Yeah, okay, we need to make things slightly different. And I would like to make the boxes a bit different as well, but let me think. Because I want to think of a relatively decent design, right? And by design, I mean I'm just like an initial placement of these elements that is like, oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. Right, it doesn't have to be anything spectacular, but I would like to start thinking about these things, because this is where drawing from imagination really, really makes a difference, from what I believe, right? Like I believe it's composition, like design is from what I understand, and I could be wrong, but I know, like from what I believe, like composition and design are pretty big, like they're pretty interlinked, you know, like the placement of elements as well as the shapes you use to place those elements. Right now, this is why, again, like this is Antonio from Artwad, he calls it the fill principle, but this is why it's so important. See, like I'm having trouble following this line back, but then we bring it here. Okay, so this is why it's so important to like, yeah, Antonio's fill principle, which is focus, intense, limitation. What is my focus? Drawing only boxes. What is my intent? To try to create something interesting design-wise. What do I think looks cool? What's an interesting placement of elements? Blah, blah, blah. Right? What's the limitation? Using only boxes. Right? The focus is like the shapes, the visualization, as always, right? The line work. And the intent, yeah, is to design something that I would find cool or interesting. And then the limitation is using only boxes. Right? And that does make a pretty big difference, I'd like to believe. Right, in terms of, because this is how ideation is born. We have to remember that, like this is literally how ideation is born, through limitation and repetition, right? And they're both intentional, like limitation and repetition. That both are extremely intentional, right? And obviously, horizon line is like somewhere here. Well, how I see the horizon line is like it's basically kind of it's something that is essentially completely perpendicular to, because this is like 2-point perspective, right? So it's perpendicular to whatever fucking axis this is. I don't know, what is X, Y, Z, right? Is this X, Y, Z? I don't fucking know. Whatever, like this one. The one that's coming up or down for the box. Right, again, like I haven't learned perspective super well in the sense that I'm a fucking idiot. So for me, it's just like, okay, I just look at box and I draw box, right? Like it's, I'm not, I don't know, I never really pay attention too much to this is this axis, this is that axis, right? It personally, to me, I was just like, okay, I just have to fucking draw this shit a million times. I just have to think about how it all relates to the other. And then I'm Gucci? Okay, then I'm Gucci. That's fine by me. Right? But Not to say I don't encourage you to do that. I only have so much. See, that's a horrible line. You see how thick that was? But that's what I'm also focusing on apart from design, right? It's like my line work. And in this specific angle, with the way I'm holding my pen, when I push it down, my pressure sensitivity is subpar. Same with this angle, right? And now that is, repeat after me. I know you can do it. That is a skill, right? It is not a talent. It is a, like, same with this, pushing this line out. There's gonna be a lot of skipping. Actually, I expected a lot of skipping, but it's just very, very wavy or shaky. But that is also a skill. Look, it's gonna happen again here. But again, I'm still really focusing, so it didn't happen as much, right? Line wasn't as shit. But these are all skills, right? So everything you struggle with, literally everything you struggle with in anything you're learning. But I said this before. I literally said this, I think, last video in art. And I made a mistake here because it's supposed to be, yeah, see, it was supposed to be diverging, but converging, but I made it diverging. Actually, no, it was fine. It was just converging too fast. Yeah, it was fine, but now this is more accurate. But everything in art is a skill. Everything in life is a fucking skill. Like everything that you're bad at, it's always a skill issue. It's always a skill issue. And even if you don't believe it, the only way you're gonna prove yourself whether it's true or not is by putting in the work to confirm whether it's a skill issue or not, right? Or I mean, you could always be one of those fuckers who's just like, I don't need to put in the work. I'm just gonna blindly believe that I can't do this because it's a talent issue, not a skill issue. It's like, cool, you're allowed to believe that, but then you'll never know if it was actually true or not because you never put the work in to disprove it or to prove it, right? And you'll find that anybody who's ever done anything usually does the work and they end up disproving it, right? But this is not bad. I think this is a pretty decent placement of elements on a surface. And again, I'm very limited. I can't even cut out the boxes. I can't fold the boxes around each other, right? So I'm trying really hard to just think about placements, right? Placements and how they affect everything. I could do something else. I'm just trying to think right now. I don't know if it works. I could do something like this. This would have to be really tiny though. Right, and then this could follow along. See, just like a little connection. This could also follow along. It's like they're connected a little bit. I don't really know if that looks great, but you know what? The fact is I tried it, right? So that's good enough. There's still that fucking line in Final Space that fucks me up. Speaking of good enough, where his, spoilers by the way, where his dad's going out into the space to do the final thing, right? I'm trying to be vague. And he's like, no, don't leave me. And he's like, you have your own mission, son. Something like that. And then he's just like, what if I can't do it? He's like, try your best. He's like, what if my best isn't good enough? And his dad's like, it's good enough for me. And I was like, crying. Right? Yeah, my dad doesn't really know how to talk to me. So I've never gotten something like that. So I was like, that fucking hit me. Especially I watched this as like an early 20-year-old too. I was like, oh my god, that's so beautiful. That hit so hard. Okay, these lines are off. I see here this line and this line. I'm pretty sure like I did a little bit too much convergence here, but again now okay, because I'm trying to think about big, medium, and small, right? If this is like our medium here, you know, if this is our medium, then this can be our big. Right, we got our smalls kind of happening as well. And I can have another small, something like that. And again, I need to also just think about like the variety of the shapes I can use, right? Because this can easily go over like this, come down, right? And yeah, I am still trying to think a lot about the perspective, but again, because I've intuited at least like the grid relatively decently, nothing incredible, but relatively decently I've intuited. So now this obviously has become a bit of a curvilinear perspective, unintentionally as well, right? Completely unintentionally, it's become a curvilinear perspective. But you know what? I feel pretty good about the fact that also these lines are shit, as you can see, that I'm doing right now. But I feel pretty fucking good about the fact that, apart from all these mistakes that I'm making, that I'm giving myself the liberty to actually just kind of mess around with Yeah, with designs, right? This is already so much more interesting than whatever the fuck this was, which was just a random amalgamation of shapes stacked between, onto, and within each other, right? So that's not bad. Like same thing here. Well, because this has become a curvilinear perspective, well, I don't have to, we don't have to follow it so much, but it does make things more interesting. Of course it does, right? And because it's become a curvilinear perspective, what's stopping me from really making this converging? Oh, see, my line is really subpar there, but I'm working on it. Managed to kind of clean it out a little bit at the end. But I hope this also gives an idea of like the type of lines I go for. Like going for my type of line I want is something like fucking this. Like this is really nice as my average line, right? The way I think about it, and this could be right, this could be wrong, but the point is like I'm always trying to push myself, which is the only thing that really matters, right? As per certain standards, which are derived from the people I look up to when it comes to art, right? But the way I think about it is just what's it called? Like when it comes to line control, is like master the line control of the brush pen, which is a very difficult medium, in my opinion, one of the most difficult mediums for pen, right? Or yeah, like versions of pens, when it comes to like pressure control especially, right? Master, if I can master that, and by master I mean literally okay, like mastery over a lifetime. But if I can become excellent over that over the course of 5 to 10 years, then things like line weight and line control and with different types of pens become a lot easier. Although I still haven't, what the one that Kim Jong Il used. Oh, by the way, again, while I'm talking, I'm thinking, right? I'm not just fucking around, which is that's why it's extremely difficult to draw and talk, which is why many people can't do it, which is why 15 years from now, when I am doing it, people will be losing their shit, being like, how the fuck is he able to just shoot this shit while he's talking? And the answer is he trained 15 years for it, dumbass. Right? What a shock. Man does really difficult thing for decades. Public outcry when he's able to accomplish it after 15 years. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's try to follow that perspective. Okay, now again, like what shape would make this look interesting? Well, I think something where it's really extended, right? And I have to remember, like this shape isn't as further out than I think it is because this perspective skews things quite a bit, right? Like look at that distance. It's not as much as I thought it would be. But that's the fun part, is trying to figure it out, trying to calculate it, trying to keep the grid clean, trying to keep the lines clean, right? And again, I want to be very clear. I have the mental liberty to do this right now because I have improved my spatial reasoning with boxes and seeing the grid to a great degree, right? Like this is not something that you can do when you first start drawing boxes, right? Unless you're a prodigy. And if you're a prodigy, then whatever anybody tells you doesn't fucking matter because you're a prodigy. I'm going to assume the people listening aren't prodigies. I'm going to assume they're people who are very normal, average to below average, like myself, right? Oh, let me calculate this. Okay, foreshortening. This way we can add foreshortening. Right, I'm going to assume the people who are here are people who are literally just normal. You're just normal, right? So if you're normal, but you want to be extraordinary, you must put an extraordinary amount of work and effort, right? Is that controversial? I would hope not, right? If that makes sense to you, then what I want to say is this, like what you're seeing right here is not what you'll be able to do in the beginning. Because in the beginning, you'll be too focused on just making a clean line that making a clean line that is being applied while thinking about the horizon line, the vanishing point, at least two of them, right? And maintaining them at a scale that is already extremely difficult, whether it's this big or whether it's this big. But in the beginning, it's most likely between this to this big, right? And maintaining that while applying a line, that is also something you're thinking about in terms of pressure control, sensitivity, as well as retaining your visualization. So that is what beginners are focused on. That is what I was focused on. That is what is expected to be focused on, right? So this is not what you're expected to do, but this can be a great frame of reference for you in the sense that, wow, I cannot wait till I can do this. I'll tell you this, the biggest thing that got me through that period, apart from learning how to learning how to love learning, right? Learning to enjoy learning, was that I was like, I can't wait till I can do that shit. Like, I cannot wait till I can, oh, this is actually incorrect perspective, I'm pretty sure, but it's okay, we've already made the mistake, right? Yeah, that's like, look at that, that's so off, this compared to this. I didn't even know how I was gonna fix that, and I wasn't thinking that that much there either. But, and let me just do something like this. Bring this up to the middle. I do have to do a decent amount of thinking here. Again, like my perspective skills are not anything incredible. I want to be very clear. They've just been very decently honed. And this still requires a lot of thinking. I want to be very clear. Like this still requires a lot of thinking, but that is art. Like art is thinking. I'll keep saying it. And maybe one fucking person will actually understand like what I actually mean by that. Like what I mean by like it is a shit ton of thinking. Right? Because I try my best to explain it. Like, hey, you're thinking about this, while trying to apply it and keep thinking about this. That's basically the gist of what I'm always trying to say is like, you have to think about all these things. And then the real difficulty is thinking about all those things, right? While also applying the lines that are those things, right? But maybe one of you will finally fucking get what I actually mean by that in terms of like how much effort you have to put in. And then understand that because you have to put in all that effort, that is why the only thing we can do is focus on the effort and the mistakes you make and enjoy it. Maybe fucking one of you will actually get it, and I will be the reason or one of the reasons that you're like, oh shit, I can get good at art. It's just a shit ton of work. I can do that. You know, I just gotta be patient. You know, which is just doing something in the meantime, which is the fucking work, right? So maybe one of you will. Right? Maybe memes aside, all the hashtag Viggy famming aside, maybe one of you will, oh, see, this is all so off, will actually get it. Look how many fucking mistakes there are, by the way. And it feels good. Like, I've literally trained myself to feel good from making these, right? But this is actually already a more interesting amalgamation or placement of boxes than this, right? And now for the next one, I'm going to really try to think about symmetry and connections and things like that. Because again, I want this all to relate back to my mech design stuff, right? So like I'm slowly trying to work towards that. This one, none of these have really gone in that direction at all, because this is technically like I'm warming up for the day, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But, and obviously like, you know, placing box clusters in general is very difficult with all the mistakes that I've done, as you can see. But anyways, I'm going to rest my brain. I encourage you to do the same. And yeah, let's go back to it. That is a good reframe for me though, the whole like trying to think about it as mech designs, because I think that would help a lot. But I made a lot of mistakes here. I mean, like I thought this was so correct, but this is so fucking ass. It should definitely be straighter for sure. Like that's already so much better, right? But there's a lot of mistakes here, and you should definitely be able to see at least a couple of them, like this line and this not being aligned, these lines not being aligned with this line, this going like it's just like this is like going way too down, right? What's it called? Because if this is a vanishing point and a vanishing point here, right, like extreme convergence, then yeah, like this vanishing point is not following this, right? Like this box is in a completely different orientation because of where this line is going. So there's a few things, and again, I might not be explaining this the best, but unfortunately, I'm getting a bit more advanced, so things are becoming more intuitive for me. I will try to use the language that actually makes sense, that's applicable to the fundamental itself, right? So what I'm trying to say is like this plane, this side of the plane, this line here is not following the convergence that I've established for the vanishing point, because all of these are generally going kind of like right here, right? Like right here. It's gonna be cropped, the video, so I'm just gonna say it's like right here, and then it's gonna go a bit past that. But this one, you'll see it's going way past, like it's just not going in that same direction at all, right? So this should have been something more like that. You know, that's already way more correct, that type of line, right? That's a big mistake. There's a couple others, right? This line I fixed a little bit, right? This is just not, this is like kind of converging way too fast, right? Like this line and this line, right? It's just not the same level of accuracy. Like this fucking plane is literally tiny, a couple millimeters shorter than this one, right? But these are things that you can only see when you practice a shit ton of times too. So I want to be clear. If you can't see any mistakes, it's not because you're not capable. It's because you're not capable yet, right? Very fine distinction. It's like just because you can't do something now does not mean you won't be able to do it forever. Because not that would imply that you just keep doing the same shit over and over, right? So if you are doing the same shit over and over, and you aren't seeing results, you need to actually focus on understanding what you're doing, right? Like, what is the end goal of what you're trying to do? Whether it's, I'm trying to create a clean line and draw planes in perspective accurately, or the next level is draw boxes in perspective accurately. You need to be able to understand what an accurate box is, what accurate boxes in the same perspectives are, what accurate boxes that have cutouts, blah blah blah, like all the little things that go up there. You need to understand the concept, and then you need to apply that concept. So first thing is like generally understand the concept, right? Which is like, I get the idea, but the next thing is do hundreds and hundreds of repetitions to actually understand the concept. You will never understand something just by fucking be like, oh, I read about it in a book. Not with skills, okay? There's procedural knowledge, right? And there's declarative knowledge. Declarative knowledge is I know, right? This is blank. Procedural knowledge is I do, which is I am doing blank, right? I can do blank. This is how you do blank, right? And a lot of declarative knowledge is what we learn in school, you know, but we don't really learn much procedural knowledge in school. So unfortunately, again, education system has failed many people, at least in North American education system. I'm not saying that it's horrible. I'm saying it's shite. There's a fucking just insane amount of things that are wrong with it, including me. But anyways, okay, let me try a different perspective. I'm just thinking right now, like I said, mech joint, right? Okay, if I said mech joint, then maybe I can do something like this. Okay, well, I want to do I want to do a bottom perspective now. So we'll do something like this, right? And I do want to think, of course, right? But because I said mech joint, it's having me, this is great, or like mech shapes, right? This way I can really improve my fundamentals, hopefully. Well, there's no hoping, there's just doing, right? So I take that back. There's no such thing as improving my fundamentals, hopefully. There's just improving my fundamentals by putting the fucking work in, right? Even I can use the wrong language and make mistakes like such, but I will acknowledge and state consistently that that is the wrong language. There's no hope. There's no I hope I understand this. It's I will understand it given enough time and given enough repetitions, right? There's a very, very big difference. So you need to understand that more than anything. Is like you are capable of understanding the things you want to understand, but you also need to know that understanding that comes with a shit ton of practice, like a fucking inordinate amount of practice. And that's something you're capable of, by the way. I'm not saying this to deter anybody. I'm saying this like literally you're capable of it, right? But you need to recognize that as well, like that you are capable of it. Because if you don't recognize that you're capable of something, then build evidence, right? Build the evidence that you are. You know, if you think you're not capable of something, sure, it might be likely that you aren't. So build the evidence, the proof, the work ethic, right? The inputs that turn into outputs, right? The inputs that matter, such as me right now, focusing on the grid, focusing on the perspective, focusing on design, focusing on elements, right? Focusing on my lines, right? Turn those inputs into things that matter, which is the output, which is like, oh, okay, slowly but surely something interesting is being designed. I don't know what, but something interesting is being designed, right? Not now, maybe not 10 years from now, but when I die, people will say, hey, you definitely did try. And Viggy Famine was a very, very, very creative, funny joke. And I'm glad that he came up with it. That's all that matters. That's all that matters to me. But yeah, like, again, I'm not creating like a mech or anything specific, but these are just terms that I'm using to give myself some sort of reason to draw something that could look pretty decent in terms of alignment. Oh, see, that line was completely off. And that's a good thing. That's a mistake I can be proud of, right? Because mistakes are something you should be proud of, because they tell you, hey, you fucked up, right? Literally, mistakes tell you you did that wrong. In what universe is that a bad thing? I actually want to, like, I want to question that. In what universe, right? Granted that you have the opportunity to just fucking learn and nobody's shitting on you. I want to be very clear, right? Because I don't want any smart ass answers like, oh, well, if you don't have a supportive environment, yeah, okay. I'm saying for yourself. I'm not saying for people around you. I'm saying for you, right? For the individual who is trying to learn. That's you, right? In what universe is making a mistake, and by definition, a mistake is something where you did something that was not expected, right? Where it was wrong. It was not the right thing to do. I actually don't know if that's the definition, but by definition, just believe me. right? But yeah, by definition, like mistakes are just things that you did wrong, right? So I don't understand in what universe knowing what you did wrong so you can act on it would be a bad thing. Right? Like I'm actually genuinely curious as to if there is a time when recognizing that you didn't do something right so that you can course correct your actions is actually a negative thing. Right? I would just like to know that. I would just like to know whether if that actually is a time like that. But anyways, I am trying something. I don't know if it's gonna work, to be honest. Because I tried doing like an angling thing, but who knows if this even makes sense. Let's actually try something like this. I basically tried angling. Okay, so that's already off. Right? So you see, like, I make mistakes all the fucking time. Like, all the fucking time I make mistakes. And that makes me happy. Right? Yes, I have moments in my practice, which is all recorded, right? It's all recorded. I don't hide anything. I have moments in my practice where I don't have those days where I'm like, yeah, I made a mistake. Oh my god, I'm coming. Like I don't have. I have days where I'm just like, I'm very frustrated. But it's all about mindset too, right? Like the days I do perform the worst, like literally the days where I perform the worst. Like right now, I'm performing really badly, right? Because if I were to consider my art a performance or whatever, but like yeah, right now I'm performing really badly, but I'm not affected by it because my mindset is, hey, just see what happens. Just see what you can do and see what you can learn, right? See what looks cool, see what doesn't look cool, you know? And that is where you want to be. That's where we all want to be, actually. I would hope so. Right? Like I would want to be at a place in my mindset, and that's something we actively strive for, by the way. It's an active effort. I want to be very clear, it's an active effort. Right? It is not a passive effort. Let's see, this is like this, and then so like this, and then so. Okay, yeah, and then that comes down here. Okay. Yeah, but everything in terms of learning, oof, seeing that hurts my brain a lot, is an active effort. It's literally an active effort, right? And I get it. Like, look at what I'm doing. I get it. I get how fucking hard that is, all right? It may, depending on the place that you're at, this may be something where you're like, oh, wow, he makes it look so easy. It's not fucking easy. My brain is hurting a lot. I'm literally trying to figure out how to make this look cool or interesting or design in a way and have different angles. And I'm also trying to think about logic and how things can connect, and they aren't connecting. Like it's very difficult because all I'm doing is making mistakes. Okay, if you don't see my mistakes, that's okay. But I would at least implore you to believe that all artists you look up to have made, every single artist you look up to has made thousand more times more mistakes than you ever have. Okay. So you have two options to take away from that information. You can Jesus Christ. You can either be like, oh damn, they failed so much, that sucks. Oh, I'm gay. Or, right, and then go suck some dick, right? Because you exclaimed that you were gay. It's only appropriate. Or you could be like, damn, they failed that much, and then they just kept going, and that means that all I have to do, quote unquote all, right? Simple, not easy, but still, technically, yeah, all you have to do is just realize that, oh shit, if they are consistently making mistakes and they made way more mistakes than me, that means the only thing separating me from them is grit, right? Grit and believing in myself and just constantly trying, because that's the truth, right? So, oh, and also be like, oh, I'm gay, and then they suck some dick anyways. But they do it with pride and belief in themselves, all right? It is fruitful dick sucking, not negative dick sucking, right? There's a difference, but yeah, see, I made a lot of mistakes here. I don't know how this connected. This shape makes no sense. None of this makes sense. Athoro's gonna be fucking disappointed in me, bro. But I can still try to be like, how is this connected, right? How can I make this shape look interesting? Well, I can still try to do something like this, right? like, yeah, these lines are still suffering. I want to be very clear. These lines are still suffering. And the design is still suffering, but this is the best part. This is literally the best fucking part for me, in my opinion. Like, this right here. Now, I gotta think, like, in perspective, how am I gonna make this work? Right? Because this is the bottom that we're supposed to be seeing. I end up seeing the top here. That makes sense. If this is angled like this, what do we really see? So like that? I guess so. Actually, we'd see the top here, yeah, because it's angled. Right? And then what else could I add? Well, again, right, it's extremely difficult to have one angle like this initial one that I did, and then angle it differently here, and you can see, like, it makes no fucking sense. I could even try to do something like this to hide it, right? But it still makes no sense. Yeah, see? But again, like, I was trying to think in terms of connections. I was trying to connect things, whether it made sense or not. Right? And again, these lines are very, very subpar. And even this design is pretty mid because everything's getting larger, which I don't think looks that good. But maybe it does, because, see, I don't think it looks that good. But I don't know if it looks good. Right? And we only end up knowing through repetitions. Right? We only end up knowing through repetitions. And this, again, this is a great opportunity for me to just practice my lines, right? But yeah, like, I want to be very clear that these fundamentals never leave you, you know, and these fundamentals are clearly, I'm slowly but surely making them less boring, right? Like, we're slowly but surely making them less boring. So, and I know maybe this isn't the conventional challenge 52 that athoro expected somebody to, oh, see, that was a huge mistake. Look how thick that got. I'm certain that this isn't the conventional challenge 52 that athoro wanted. Someone to do. Actually, I don't know if this box is in the right perspective. I'm trying to think. See, like, okay, if this box was suddenly tilted like this, let's just say if it was this box was expanded and then tilted in this manner. I think actually we'd be seeing the bottom, yeah. Yeah, okay, so I made a mistake. So the perspective is inaccurate in terms of, like, actually following the established perspective, and then when things are angled, basing it off rotating that point of axis, right? Where it's like this, and then we're rotating it, and then we're trying to make sure everything's aligned, right? But I made that mistake, and it's hard to tell for anyone, clearly, right? Like, I know it's not something that immediately would jump out at anybody. That doesn't mean that I say if nobody can see it, that means it's fine. No, it just means if nobody can see it, well, that works out in my favor, which is cool. But now I know where I fucked up, and I'm gonna make sure that I keep that in mind next time. Because again, drawing is thinking, lots and lots of thinking, lots of difficult thinking. Right, and then maybe I can attach something. And again, like, I'm trying to figure out design. Like, this is all some really unnecessary, complicated shit, right? Which is why I introduced this, or I'm introducing these two large boxes here, because I'm still trying to understand placement and big, medium, small, right? Okay, like, see, that's already off. That's already off compared to that. So I obviously struggle with these extreme angles and my lines, of course, quite a bit. So two big mistakes right there, two huge mistakes right there, right? But that's fine. It's literally just what it is. And what can I do here to make it? Well, I can just maybe add one thin box here, right? Again, this is like completely wrong perspective. Oof, and that line suffered a lot. Look at that. Look how curved that line is. That is so shit. And again, my lines in general. But I want to be very clear. Like, this is a good thing. This, oh, see, oof, what the fuck? So, like, see these tiny lines? They need to be very accurate. Be very, very accurate. And my head is, like, having a tendency to try to lean right now because this is at an angle, like an extreme angle, but I'm trying to ignore it. See, it's my head literally keeps trying to tilt. Anything that involves this type of angle, because again, I'm not skilled enough to do it correctly. My head wants to tilt, right? But that doesn't mean that I just follow along. Okay, see, so this is like a complete clusterfuck. Literally, it's a complete fuck of clusters. So that's probably my biggest mistake. Yeah, like you see, when I try doing something cohesive, it turns into something incomprehensible, right? With a shit ton of mistakes. So nobody's above this practice. I want to be very clear. Like nobody's above this practice. But it's been 50 minutes. I'm gonna rest my brain, and then I'm gonna do another one here, right? And then we're gonna just keep trying. Yeah, we're just gonna keep fucking trying until we start designing something. And this is over the course of this week. The big focus for this week is just gonna be try to design, not based on the pressure I was putting myself before, which is like try to design something interesting, but more so a good blend of think about the spatial reasoning and think about all those things, but also try to like what's an arrangement, what's a placement, what's an interlocking, what's just a combination of elements that are placed that I personally would find interesting. And what I personally would find interesting is going to come up from in general of things that I would find interesting in that placement, or like in any placement of boxes, but they're derived from like actual good design language will be derived from all the 10 to 20 minutes of analysis I do on Pinterest of like hard surface design or just design in general, like trying to think about like, okay, make things even and all that shit. This was an attempt that completely got lost, but it was an attempt because now I know like, okay, I can do something here, right? I still think I'm breaking the rules of this one because this is just supposed to be boxes, and technically I did do like a blending, so I don't know if that's, I probably shouldn't have done that, but yeah, fuck it, like I'll try not to do it. But yeah, let me rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well. All right, Gucci Gango. Anyways, okay, let's try something else. I mean, these are all pretty unique perspectives. I mean, this one was okay, right? If I'm gonna be introducing diagonals and shit, I obviously gotta make sure things make sense, right? No cutouts, obviously. Again, I'm really trying to limit myself to just boxes. So this angle. So why don't we try something like this? Yeah, I think this is gonna be a very basic angle. This is basically like a 3/4 angle, but I obviously want to try it. So I'm gonna try to think in terms of machinery, right? And that's gonna be the basis, is just machinery. Right, machinery design, helmet design. I don't know if I can really do helmet design, but definitely machinery design. And this is actually why I'm glad I'm taking this break right now in terms of like my extensive art practice, because it feels so fucking good to just go back to simple shapes. Like, I'll be honest, it feels so good to go back to simple shapes. Because like the basics, when you go back to the basics, it really, like this right now, me just using simple shapes to try to create something interesting, this is probably harder than using complex shapes to create something interesting, because with simple shapes, you can't even hide. You literally can't hide. Like, I cannot hide behind the fact that like, oh, this looks cool, or like there's a lot of details going on. It's like, no, like you don't have a fucking choice. You are simply using boxes, and you must make something that has some merit using only boxes, right? I can't do anything else apart from that, which is why I love it, because it will teach me to try harder, right? I already fucked that up, which is cool. There you go. Something like that. I'm trying to make it jut out, but I don't know if I did that correctly. So again, I could accidentally end up making form combinations without even meaning to, but overall, I'm not trying to. And I'm trying to think ahead in terms of, like, as you can see, I'm trying to think ahead of all the cutouts and shit I could do too. And who knows, maybe this will be my worst one yet, because I'm trying to do a lot of things at once, and may end up getting very jumbled, right? Very jumbled. So Let's see. And then, do I want the same thing on the other side? Maybe. Right? And I am trying to think about, I am like genuinely trying to think about the the minor axis. What the fuck am I saying? Not the minor axis. Jesus Christ. I am trying to think about the vanishing points. But I will be also honest and say that the design is taking precedent, which means I'm offloading a lot of the cognitive responsibility of these like of the minor axis and analyzing the perspective to intuition. Which of course I don't like using intuition that much, but right now my mind really wants to focus on trying to design something interesting. Like or something that's just arranged in a manner which I find interesting. Right? I really hate the word interesting because I feel as if it doesn't tell a beginner anything. Right? It's like when you go to a fucking it's like if you're learning a martial art and they're like just it's a gut feeling, man, just do it with your core, or just but I remember one of my fucking teachers, because I was taking BJJ for a while, right, and then due to monetary reasons I couldn't continue, unfortunately, because I'm a broke boy, became unemployed, woohoo. But I mean, I'm sure I think my fans know that I'm currently unemployed, right? But see, okay, that doesn't look that good. This didn't look that good. I feel as if more variation was required. But now I know, like, that doesn't look that good, right? That's a good thing. Like, knowing that, hey, that kind of looks like fucking shit. That's a good thing, right? But yeah, I was taking BJJ, and I remember like the instructor was just like, just turn. He's like, just use your hips, and then he just did the thing. I'm like, I tried doing, like, I don't get it, right? Because I'm someone who needs like genuinely like the fucking most broken down information possible, right? Like, use this part of your hip to turn it this way with this much propulsion at this angle with this much force, right? Then I'll be like, oh, okay, okay. And there's this other guy who did give me that type of teaching, and immediately like I got it a lot better. But even then, I had to tell him like, bro, you really got to break it down for me, right? But like I just don't learn that way. Like I'm not the type, like I need and I think most people who are learning, this is just what I think, but I think most people who are learning need really extensive explanations, right? Not extensive to the point where it's just overloading, but when you are having them practice something, they need to be constantly reminded, be like, you do it like this, you do it like this, you do it like this. Or maybe that's just me. Maybe I just learned that way, right? Because I'm fucking doom. But who knows, right? Anyways, I don't think that looks that good. So I made a mistake. Like, yeah, none of this really makes any sense. I was trying to connect things, but clearly have realized I haven't done a great job at connecting things. Let me try something here. Maybe if I connect this, right? Maybe that will make a difference. Okay. This is like, none of this is working, to be honest. Literally none of this is working. But I'm gonna keep trying, obviously. There you go. What if that's connected? And then if we bring that over here. There you go. What if that's like a connection? And then this is a box. I'm just trying to, like, again, I will get better at this, of course, over the next while, right? Like, of course I will get better, but I think I'm drawing too small too. Like, I need to use larger, clearer shapes. Like, this is better. This is way too fucking small. Like, genuinely. And yeah, it's good for my design or my lines and shit, but it's way too fucking small. So we need to push that even further, right? And I need to think, like, how can I connect these? And yeah, I'm drastically converging. Like, I see, this is all fucked up. This is all sorts of fucked up. You can see it's all sorts of fucked up, my convergence. But I'm just trying to think about it right now. Before I make any more lines, because that's the thing, right? We want to think. Like, even though this is my rest week and blah 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 bullshit, right? I still want to think. I still want to actually like try to problem solve something, right? And using only boxes is a great limitation in that. So I believe, what if I do something like this. Right? What if I do something like that? This is connected here, this is connected here. Keep. Obviously it's not accurate, like, because I do like to think about proportions and shit. Obviously it's not super accurate, but I'm also just trying to think. Right now I'm just, like, the main thing I'm trying to think about is using boxes to connect to other boxes. Right? And yeah, like, obviously it's a lot more complicated than that when it comes to actual mech design. What the fuck just fell, bro? Something just fell. My mom probably just dropped something in the kitchen. Classic mother, just dropping things. I'm gonna have to talk to her about ruining my YouTube image later. But you guys can tell I'm very concentrated, hopefully, because I'm not even making good jokes, nor am I speaking properly, right? But oh, Viggy, the fact that you ever thought you made good jokes in the first place. But let's see. Okay, see, none of this makes sense. I don't know. I need to figure out how to use bigger shapes, right? Better shapes too, because this is not it. Yeah, this is definitely not it. Because if I just do something like this, fuck it, we'll just close it off like this for the time being. And then there you go. Ta-da! I mean, this could actually still end up working in my favor if I do it correctly. I just need to. Oh, see, that line was a fuck up. Love I said that and then I fucked up immediately. See, this line was also a fuck up because it's diverging. There you go, and then we'll connect these as well. And then what, Vagu? And then what? Let's see. Well, we can just leave this as like one giant large shape. That's something I think I can say is good. Even though I still made it diverge a little bit, which is not good. Right, but not everything has to have shit on it, is what I'm hopefully starting to understand. Fucking Jesus. We. Why's my voice cracking when I say we? That's a piss off, bro. I can't even say we. We. Alright. So yeah, athoro, I hope I've done a good service to your challenge. Check out the link in the description. I probably should have said that in the beginning, but clearly I didn't. There you go. Where does this look like computer stuff? It's not mech stuff anymore, but maybe it looks like computer stuff. Hopefully, right? I don't know, something like that. Like I'm just trying to. Designing is difficult, man, but slowly but surely, I'm gonna. Okay, yeah, like being able to place shit, like place boxes in aesthetic or in pleasing orientations should help with my designing abilities when I go back to the helmets next week, right? Or the portrait practice next week. So, and my lines are obviously still not incredible, but like I'm still trying to, like, this is bad. Like I know for sure this is just stupid. Like these tiny boxes add nothing. They literally add nothing and they take away a lot. You know what I mean? Maybe if I were to do something like this, it would make it slightly better. But if I were just to add a box that connected, then if I were to add another box that connected as well, right? And that could just be, and then I could add tiny boxes. See, adding tiny boxes here might actually make a difference. Maybe not. Fuck, maybe not. But who knows? Right, maybe. Or maybe not. I'm just trying to think of connections. I don't have any riveting commentary. I think I lost steam of all the shit I want to talk about 10 minutes ago or 20 minutes ago. Right now I'm just trying to really focus on designing this to be relatively interesting. Right? And then we can just do something like this, which is just give it a frame. There you go. Now what about here? What do I want to do here? Right? Maybe some little design. Something like that. Do the same thing down here, up here. So it looks like, hey, oh, it was all planned. He's a genius. He plans all his drawings. Let's go. Ah. That's the noise I make when I'm trying to make tiny lines. There you go. But right, like, okay, so, and another thing I could do is this, and this is just me thinking out loud, by the way. This is, I don't know if this is legit or not, but it's like you need tiny pockets of detail and then large things to breathe over, right? I see that a lot in mech design. So this could be the pockets where everything is detailed, right? Like this could be that pocket, like this general region. And then you see how everything around it, it can just be left as it is. I'll try to explain as much as what I'm thinking and like the quote unquote revelations that I have along the way, because that could help anybody listening in the future, and maybe it's relevant to what you're learning right now as well, right? Like, oh shit, so that's what he was thinking? Damn, okay, like that actually might help me. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not saying that it has to at all times. I'm just saying that it could be something that's actually helpful, because I have that too, you know. Okay, see, like, so this is like the little pocket of, this just looks like ass. I don't know what I was doing here. We might actually need another one here. I can just draw it over. Right. That kind of makes it look more techy. Can I get one on the back, maybe? No, maybe. I don't know. But that, I think that's a bit better in terms of like pockets, right? And like big, medium, small. You know, maybe we can even have, and I know I'm going over the time limit because I technically do have a time limit. But even something like this could help. A box like this, maybe? Actually, that might be too thin. I think that's too thin because it's too similar to everything else. So I take it back. But then what if that's the case, then why don't I do something like, oh, see, that line was incorrect. There you go. See, why don't I do something like that? Where it's like this is connected. This box is connected to these. Right? There you go. There's like the little connection thing. Oh, see, that line was also incorrect. Feels good, man. And there you go. Right? And there you go. That could be a connection. This could also be a little connection. I could do something like this. See, that's already off perspective, but we can fix it. There you go. Oh, it's funny, like, because they're getting larger, these blocks, even though it's supposed to be foreshortened and getting smaller. So that's another mistake. I'm really trying to see this properly. Let's see, land down here, land down there. But what am I doing? I'm just trying to think about, like, okay, if I add boxes that are being cut into this, perhaps that's aesthetic, right? Perhaps that's, oh, that's a mistake. What I made earlier just now with the connection of these lines. Riveting commentary. Ah, fuck me! There you go. Now that's some good commentary when I fuck up. God damn it. That was a bad mistake. But again, I don't feel bad. Right? Maybe my language is like, oh no, I made a mistake. But no, I actually don't give a shit. It's good. It's a good thing to make mistakes. I'll keep saying that as much as possible. Again, maybe one of you fuckers will actually understand. Maybe just one. Maybe just one. Okay, wait, what's the perspective here? Is it converging upwards or downwards? I'm trying to see. See, because I wasn't even thinking about the vanishing point here, because I really was trying to just think about the boxes and shit. Right. So, how long has it been? Oh fuck, it's been an hour and 9 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna stop this after I do this. I knew it was getting to that point too, but I was getting in the zone a little bit with the designing, right? But let's see, what is the fucking perspective? I completely lost the perspective. Well, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to have that occur, but we'll just ignore it. There you go, and then this is... There you go. It's a lot better. Dude, do not fuck up that line. It's a bit better. I mean, the line is still fucked, but it's a decent amount better. Okay, that's still relatively in perspective. Still lots of mistakes, but relatively in perspective. Whee! Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. I feel as if I did a decent job with, what's it called? Yeah, I feel as if I did a decent job with keeping the details here and keeping more just general things on the outside, like larger shapes. So, and I also like to think about what are the combinations for boxes, even just like planes. Like, what are the combinations that can be done, right? Because it's so easy to be like, oh yes, you're just drawing planes, but no, it's like we can make this look interesting. There has to be ways, right? There has to be ways to make it look interesting. And even here, maybe I could just have another box that's connecting to all these, right? Again, pockets of detail is what I'm hopefully starting to understand. And see, now these two are connected. That's pretty good. See, like this box and this box is now connected, right? But okay, I'm gonna leave it. I'll obviously be back. I'm literally gonna be back in 20 minutes. Really try to figure out how I can make boxes be interesting. I'm gonna have to count all these fucking boxes afterwards. I don't even know how many this is. This is obviously a bit more of a modified version of Challenge 52, but right now, yes, we're doing the week 1 boxes, 500 boxes. Like, these are a part of that. Maybe I won't count the small ones. We'll only count the large ones. Like, these little ones will count. These little ones, like, won't count. The planes obviously won't count, right? I guess, like, this is the smallest I'll go for a box that I'll count. But in general, athoro is definitely looking for much larger boxes. So honestly, for the next hour that I do, like the next batch, I'll really focus on making the boxes larger, right? Like, we'll try to keep the boxes like this size or this size, like these sizes. I don't know, maybe I draw too small. I think I definitely draw too small. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you put a lot of effort in. I hope you really tried. That was fun. This was a good break week. I can go back to really killing my brain next week for the next 6 weeks past that, right? But with that being said, as always, fuck you for watching. Keep drawing, and please, give me money.